Thank you, Mark, and a big hello from London. Quite a few weekly technical patterns last week. So I'll start with the currencies, and we had a weekly key reversal down in US dollar against the South African rand, which is not that surprising given the resurgence in gold prices. This week we have seen a suitable follow-on lower. There was also a weekly key reversal down, if only just, in the US dollar CNY, the onshore Chinese yuan 1 month NDF, and only in the 1 month NDF. So no confirming moves in the spot USD CNY or in the USD CNH, the offshore Chinese yuan, thus weakening its potential. And this has shown up this week when we have not seen a follow-on lower, but rather prices staying close to last Friday's close. The final currency pairing was a weekly key reversal down in the US dollar Polish zloty last week, which has seen a small follow-on lower, but barely making it outside last week's range right now. Over now to the stock markets, and there were a number of weekly key reversal patterns here, all weekly key reversals down, and they tie in with the rotation of funds out of some equity markets and into crypto assets. Thus, we had weekly key reversals down in a NASDAQ 100 index, which has seen a limited move lower since last week, and in the Flex semiconductor index, which has also seen a small follow-on move lower this week. Then over in China, we saw a weekly key reversal down in the Shanghai Composite Index last week, which saw a follow-on lower this past Monday, but which has lost those moves with a reversal back up yesterday and today, back up just over last Friday's close. The same also applies for the Chinese CSI 300 stock index, though the recovery here has not been as high as last Friday's close, whilst the Chinex Composite Index attempted a similar recovery, but it has barely been able to reach up to the lows of last week. Over now to the metals, and in both bullion and base metals we had weekly key reversals up. One of the most interesting to me was last week's weekly key reversal up in spot silver, as this was the second weekly key reversal up we had seen in August, one last week and one at the start of August. Prices are now perched on the support of the vaguely flatlining mauve medium moving average, currently at 68.25, and possibly contemplating taking on the overhead gold long moving average, currently 72.41. Equally interesting was the weekly key reversal up seen last week in LME 3-month copper, which has seen an excellent follow-on higher this week, with prices now looking set to possibly challenge the late January all-time high at $14,527.50. This also helps with a number of targets I have topside, which I outlined in my monthly metals video commentary yesterday and in weeks beforehand. The next is LME 3-month zinc, which had a weekly key reversal up last week and has seen a superb follow-on higher this week, reaching up and about to reach some major targets topside, which I had previously outlined in my metals video commentaries. Finally, we had a weekly key reversal up in LME 3-month tin last week, if only just. This one has not performed so well, with prices still within last week's range and showing some indecisive pattern as well. The next commodity was a weekly key reversal up in the Baltic Handymax shipping index last week, which has seen a small but useful follow-on higher this week. Over now to Chicago butter futures, which had a weekly key reversal down last week. However, this week, there's been a somewhat disappointing nowhere move from last Friday's close. Finally, we had a weekly key reversal up in the NYMEX Henry Hub NatGas futures last week. This saw some hesitation at the start of this week, but the market has now started to move higher, though still within last week's range. As always, I'm happy to answer any direct questions with anyone who's interested. And with that, I'll finish this section from London, and I hope that you found these comments useful. Thank you for watching and listening. This weekly broadcast gives the essential market patterns and consequences. Please be aware of the risk disclaimer posted both at the front and at the back of this broadcast. Copyright is Eddie Tofpick and ADM Investor Services International Limited. And here comes the final important bit.